Today's podcast is brought to you by Sheath underwear. And Sheath underwear, if you've never tried it, is sexy. Like, it's just like if there was underwear for guys that was like good, like men lingerie or something like that, it's Sheath. It's comfortable. They've got that the pocket where you drop your nuts into it, and then even the Zen pouch where you stick your shaft through the hole. It's functional. It feels good. It looks good. It's no joke. I pack for a trip for 10 days. I throw 10 pairs of Sheath in there. It's good shit. Check it out. Use promo code SPEED if you haven't tried it yet. It will save you money on your first order. And I assure you, everybody that's done this loves it. It's not like, it's just a pair of tidy whities. No, it's good shit. Check it out. Sheathunderwear.com. Promo code SPEED. What's going on, everybody? Rob Ferretti here with Glen from Glen's Car Collection. This is podcast 68. That's the one right before that magic number, and the one right after 67, which was the SEMA podcast. We didn't podcast after the SEMA podcast?
No. You and I did 66 in October. You did
sure we
SEMA
didn't?
in November, positive.
All right. So, yeah, podcast 68. Welcome aboard. For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, hello, you can see us. For those of you listening on iTunes and Shout Engine, welcome aboard. And Glenn and I are not wearing shirts.
Not wearing pants.
And shirts.
They're seeing our shirts.
It was the audio people. All right. That one went over Glenn's head. So, yes, we are clothed here. Anyway, let's talk about some fun stuff. The car industry is sort of falling apart. And I got to be honest with you. And going back to my early podcasts, I was a big doubter on the electric cars and how people would want to take to the electric cars. Mm-hmm. And I've probably got to say I was a little wrong on that. The electric cars, and if you were going to pick, people love to point the finger at GM right now. They're closing down a bunch of plants. They're doing layoffs.
They're stopped making the Volt too, right?
Yeah, they stopped making the Volt, or they're going to stop making the Volt.
They're going to stop.
But people are just bitching about GM and how they should stay open and you can't say do a better job at what you've been doing for 40 years. And it's like saying Sears, stay in business. People need their jobs. No, you can't do that because ultimately they're changing the way they do business because the way they're doing business isn't profitable right now. And it's not their job to stay profitable to give you money. If they said, look, we're going to cut all your wages in half. We're going to fire 20% of you, but the company will be healthy. Everyone will be like, no, no, no. And they drive the company into the ground. That's what unionized auto workers do. But no, it's what unions do, not just auto workers. They don't care about the company profitability, and ultimately it essentially can set a company up for failure. Now, people may be complaining about GM, but it's more than just GM. It is a global, auto shift to electric cars, and part of it was the government. You got to point the finger at the government because the government was saying we need these unrealistic fuel standards by year 2025 or 2021, and if nobody was going to be able to hit them, they'd either have to change the regulation or they'd have to come out and remove the regulation because you can't make innovation that's not possible happen unless you switch off of that fuel type.
Right, and that makes the cars more expensive now to reach those gas mods. So the average new car is like $31,000 now for an average new car.
Yeah, that's not cheap.
That's the highest it's ever been, right? So people are buying less cars, or they're switching to SUVs or electric cars, and it's making the $20,000 car now $31,000. People aren't buying it.
It's multiple facets. The market wanted more reliable cars. They got more reliable cars. What do more reliable cars mean? Less cars coming through service. So now the dealerships aren't, they're not doing so well with the service departments. And I'm sure they are still now. But the future of less stuff to break on cars, less technicians, less service departments, less everything. The fact that older cars are becoming convenient in that they've got all the amenities of, the new cars are just new fenders, new bumpers, but they do the same thing as the old ones. So the people that want the new cars are like, yeah, all right, I'll buy the new car because I want the new one. It was a lease or whatever. They trapped me into getting a new one because I went over on miles. But the old ones are perfectly fine. So now you got a lot more people saying the reason to buy an old car used to be, or to stay away from an old car is if you get it, you have no idea what's going to happen. The maintenance is going to kill you. It's going to end up costing you more than if you would have bought a new one.
Our father's generation, the car only lasted 5 years.
Correct.
Or 100,000 miles.
And like so it's past its like usable lifespan.
You bought a new car because you had to. Now you would buy a new car because you want to. A
Correct.
10-year-old car is still going to work. A 15-year-old car is still going to work.
So you have those variables. Now people don't need a new car. So why would I go buy a new car? And remember, the manufacturers, their job is to sell new cars. So now you got more used cars and good used cars on the market. And people are like, I'll just buy that instead. It's half the price because it's lost all its value. So
that's what I do. That's what you do.
That's what I do. Like you see, but like the newer generation is becoming more budget conscious, more aware of things. So and wages technically. I mean, well, not getting the not politics.
Well, a lot of people that you have Uber now too. You have Uber, right? So
Yeah.
you have a lot of 25-year-olds. It's too expensive to drive. By the time they make car payments, how high car insurance is. I know a lot of people, they just Uber because then you only pay for a car when you need, or ride share. Or
there's a lot of people in New York City, for example. In the cities, there's a lot of people, and they're making buildings taller, fit more people, taking, like in Miami, they took a gas station and turned it into a high-rise. A gas station. So you had something that had 0 people, and now has 700 people living in it. That's a lot of additional cars. It's a lot of additional cost because now you have to pay for parking. And you run into a situation where you have more people than there is parking. The cost of parking goes up. In New York, it's very easy for somebody living down in Tribeca to pay double or 3 times what their car payment is for a parking spot every month. So at that point in time, like, all right, I'm now spending $1,200, $1,500 a month for a car. I can get a Uber Black to bring me wherever I want to go, when I want to go there. And it'll be cheaper because it's costing me $20,000 a year to drive around a frickin' Prius. Which sucks, by the way. Priuses suck. Like I think that's very clear by now. I hope it's clear.
Now you think the Volt blows away the Prius, right?
Yeah, the Volt blows away the Prius, but the Volt was canceled because the Volt was betting on the people not go, and exactly why I like the Volt over the electric cars. No range anxiety. Like if and I've been in situations where I've driven it and I didn't have time to charge it.
Right.
And even Shivam came over here the other day. He had to plug into my house because he needed enough juice to get home.
With a Model 3?
With his Model 3, yeah. And he was like worried. He had, like, I don't know, I've only got 42 miles of range in it. And then it's wintertime, so it doesn't hold as well.
Hold it, yeah.
So you have all these variables. You have the shift now. And I'm going to give most of the credit or all of the credit to Elon Musk because Fisker tried electric cars. They didn't do so well. And Elon Musk came along and fixed the big problems, which was the range. And that's where I was like that second, what you just saw, right? That was me saying, sort of like that guy, that Musk guy. But he saw a problem. He said, this is the problem that we're going to have to solve to get people on board, which is we're going to have to give people 300 or 400 miles worth of range and a charge because nobody really drives 300 or 400 miles a day.
Right.
So nobody's going to have range anxiety if you give them 300 or 400 miles in a charge and it gets 300 or 400 miles to a charge. Not like my Volt where I fill it up with 60 miles and it gets 35, maybe 40, whatever. You get your full range, or apparently you get your full range in the Tesla as long as you're not driving like a mutant.
So if you drove like us, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, well, no, not even that. Like, because like the Volt, if I'm going over like 80 miles an hour, the battery just goes.
Oh, really?
But the Tesla doesn't.
Okay.
And the Tesla has just like if you do like beast mode performance launch, you're going to chew through the battery real quick. But that's not why you buy an everyday car.
Yeah.
So now the only thing left is the price point. Now, the price point, and then obviously making the interiors a little bit nicer and everything like that. But if you start, and that's what the other manufacturers I think are going to give Tesla a big kick in the nuts, is they're going to be offering electric cars, which people want to say like electric cars are new technology. They're not. Like golf carts have been around for quite some time. So all it is a bigger golf cart.
Yeah, the electric, all that in the early 1900s, late 1800s, they had electric cars. They had steam cars. And they had gasoline. Gasoline was the cheapest, reliable, and that's why they went with gasoline.
I'm talking about like modern day electric cars. It's effectively a golf cart. Like, I'm not kidding. It's a golf cart with a bigger battery and different tires and a roof. So you have to realize that it was only a matter of time and a matter of market demand that's like, all right, we want to sell 500,000 of these, or we're going to have 500,000 people that want to buy them. and this is not a Florida retirement community where everyone needs a golf cart to get around. This is something that, in order for that to work, you needed to convince and beat people into wanting these. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think in the sports car segment there'll ever be an electric car takeover. I mean, I'm sure the people that want to go do lightning laps and everything like that will do it, but the people that are genuinely like, I'm going to be the old guy that's just like, just give me my damn car and let me go rip. And I guess that's the guy with the 69 Camaro right now. We're going to be the new 69 Camaro guys in 20 years.
Well, the supercars are all hybrids, right? Like the 918 and the P1.
Yeah, but I don't even like the hybrids. And that's the thing. Like, you're going to have a whole new generation. Like, my kids are going to be driving around their electric sports car that goes 0 to 100 in 2 seconds and be like, Dad, your shit's so slow. I'll be like,
well, like the 69 Camaros are now, right? Like our father's stuff is slow.
And like, I enjoy it. Like, they're like, well, my car prevents me from hitting anything. And it drives itself and this and that. And to me, it's like, you know what? I enjoy, this is where I get my rocks off. You give me this car making this noise, doing this, and that's where I get in my enjoyment. And that's what the older people are saying.
Right. That's what I'm afraid of, like with self-driving cars, like, whatever exotic sports car, it'll drive it for you, right? You're like, look how fast my self-driving car is compared to yours. And it's like, we kind of like running through the gears, and even if it's slower,
exactly.
It's more involving because that's what you want to do.
Sure.
Now, why don't you just have Michael Schumacher, you press his button and he, the old Michael Schumacher, he comes out.
Well, now you push a button, the nurse comes.
He comes out and he drives for you and turns the fastest lap at the track day, right? Isn't if you do like a good heel-toe downshift, even if you fuck every other one up, you did a good heel downshift. You want to go back to the track, just like hitting a good, I'm not a golfer, but hitting a good shot.
A good drive or something,
we'll keep you come back to do it again.
You know what's funny, though, like with the electric cars, what's to stop you from just like pushing a button and letting the car drive around the track for you?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like the optimal lap.
Yeah, you just press the button and Michael Schumacher pops out.
Not even Michael Schumacher, just artificial intelligence.
Okay, yeah.
Like, because they've done the autonomous cars lapping racetracks, and they do very well. Yeah. Because they know exactly where everything is, and it's reading from a million sensors.
Won't make a mistake. He doesn't get tired. He got enough sleep last night. Yeah. He didn't drink 10 beers.
Speaking of, and so anyway, my friend works for General Motors. She's like one of the girls that works at the car shows, and like, hey, brand ambassadors and everything like that. And people like yell at her, like she's laying people off. And she's like, I'm even like, my contract runs up in a couple of months. I don't know if I'm getting renewed. I'm like, look, as long as General Motors is slinging shit with wheels, you're gonna have a job because you're gonna be the one slinging it. But like, it sucks that people can't understand why the auto industry is doing a huge revamp, because you don't want to be the one that's too late to revamp, because if you do, you'll get buried. That Sears is a perfect example of somebody that was too late to revamp, and they went under. If you don't get with the times, if you don't modify the company to conform to what the people want, then you're going to be the one left behind in the dirt, and you're going to be like, look at all you guys running around. Oh shit, wait, we're way behind the 8 ball, and then you're screwed. So that's that. So now we're going to jump over. I was going to talk about, because I just got off in my head, the guy who, I think he was a councilman or something in LA, the cop that was trying to pull over the guy drunk driving in his Tesla.
I don't think I heard that story.
All right, so this guy...
Tell us, Rob, tell us.
He had autopilot on, or autonomous mode, whatever you call the self-driving feature, the driver assist feature on the Tesla. And the car was doing 70 miles an hour, and this dude was just drunk-ass passed out. Taking a nap. Cop tries to pull him over for 7 miles. Like, the guy obviously is not pulling over. It's holding 70 miles an hour.
And the Tesla doesn't know it's getting pulled over.
And the Tesla doesn't know it's getting pulled over. So what the cop did was, he's smart. He realized it was on like self-driving mode, pulled in front of the car, then slowed down to a stop. The car obviously slows down to a stop. It doesn't like try to get away. Slows down to a stop, gets out, knocks on the window, wakes the guy up, arrests the guy, and then he was arrested for drunk driving. Very unsafe. Let's just say that. Like, that is not the purpose. It's not get you home. That's what Uber's for. It's not get you home drunk. When I drove Shavam's car with the autonomous mode, it almost crashed twice.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because like it loses the lane. If there's no lines, it's like, yo, take over, because I catch it before. Like, I don't know if it would self-correct before hitting something, it censors something. Yeah. But it was not like it was nothing I would trust my life to.
Right, it's not 100%. It works most of the time, which now, is not enough. Like,
it worked in his scenario because he was probably on a highway, and like I don't know how far the thing would go. Like if he's not awake, is the thing gonna just keep driving straight till it gets to San Diego, or
I don't know.
Like it's not gonna like turn and bring you home.
I did a review of a Model X, which is the SUV, and it was I guess a couple years old, and I think I did it last year. And you had to touch the steering wheel every certain amount of minutes. So I don't know, maybe it's different now with that guy who was drunk or whatever. But, you know, it worked 95% of the time. So 5% it didn't. And that's, I guess, the scary part. Great car, fantastic. Yeah. But, you know, would you want a plane that works 95% of the time?
No.
Right? With all the flying you did?
But that's the whole point, is that you have to pay attention to driving. And, like, it's nice if you want to, like, glance away for a second. Or if, like, you're looking at the radio. Like that, there's times where you catch yourself drifting out of a lane for whatever you're doing.
Right.
And it's nice that these features can keep you in the lane, but it doesn't take over and it doesn't replace driving. We're not at that point. If you can't be bothered to drive your own car, hire somebody to drive it for you.
Right. I think it's going to make the driving skill worse, because it's just like now if you get in a car without a backup camera, a lot of times you're like, oh, how did I live without a backup camera? I actually got to look over. You should look over your shoulder anyway with a backup camera. But, you know, now you're looking over your shoulder and you're backing up maybe more gingerly because you don't have the screens and the beepers and all that other stuff. So I think people are just, you know, going to get used to that. It's that convenience. And now you're going to have to, what happens when it gives you control in the middle of a turn and you're not used to it? Because if you're relaxing, you don't have that reaction time, right? So, you know, if you were playing a baseball and the pitcher throws it, you know that pitch is coming. So you're ready up at the plate, right? If you were just standing there with the bat like this and the pitcher throw it, 90% of the time, you're not going to hit it, right?
Not 100%.
I think I would consider an electric car if I could charge it at work. So most of the time, like my commute's 20 miles each way, but I could get a call where I got to drive 100 miles there and 100 miles back. And it could be cold and I could get stuck in traffic. Yeah. If I could charge it at work while I'm there, then I would consider that. And I think, you know, and it's an expense, and who pays for that? If office buildings had chargers for people, more people could buy electric cars. But then if they set up 10 chargers, you know, 11 people are going to buy electric cars, and somebody's going to be stuck without one, right? And for us that have a lot of cars, first world problems, if I had a Tesla, there's no way it would be in my driveway. It's a daily driver. There's no way it would get a garage spot. And then how do I charge it, right?
I would be really impressed in the future, if this is the future, that like charging pads, so you park on top of a charging pad
inside your garage,
it's wherever,
like an iPhone.
But if they then electrified the roadways, so your car is in a constant state of charging,
that would work.
Then you ultimately have unlimited range, and unlimited range is pretty cool. My truck that I just got, I got a new car hauler,
right? Yep.
And you can check out that video on my YouTube channel. I have the rusty truck link still. It's still a thorn in my ass. But I've got a brand new 2018, 2019 Chevy 3500 cab and chassis, and I got the 2 gas tanks, so I get a little over 1,000 miles of range.
Wow.
Which,
how many gallons does that hold total?
I don't know. I never ran it. I mean, I got it pretty low, but the front tank I think is 17 gallons, and the back one maybe like 44 or 50.
Wow. Yeah, because it can't. How good of a gas mileage can it get?
It gets 16 miles to the
gallon.
I
was going to guess 15.
No,
okay.
16 with a load is not a bad fuel economy. So I was quite happy with that. And like I didn't want to stop. Like I don't want to pull over because I don't need gas. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. So it was actually pretty good that I went from Nashville to DC and still had like enough gas in the tank to then start heading back up to New York.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's why I started with 3/4 of a tank because I only filled the rear one. I don't know where the switchover is, like if it feeds the other tank or what the situation is, or if it pulls from both tanks. But big range is cool. I like big range.
So it must cost like $250.
170 something when I filled it up, yeah. But like I don't mind that. And I think the more electric cars out there, more gas is going to go down.
Yeah.
The cost of gas is going to get cheaper and cheaper when fewer and fewer people need it.
Which will be great. And we'll buy gas cars.
Yeah. No, I'll always be rocking gas cars. I'm not going to say I won't own an electric car for an everyday car. I'm a very practical person. I drive a freaking Chevy Volt. But ultimately, like they don't really get me going, so to speak.
Like, well, if you're sitting in traffic or commuting in the city, I guess it makes sense if it's comfortable. But you think about it. I mean, I like Teslas. I love Teslas. But if you spend $100,000 on a nice Tesla, or 100, I know somebody bought one. It was like 130 grand. You know, maybe how much gas are you saving? $5,000 a year for 130.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I mean, fuel for most people, if they get a car that gets 20 miles to the gallon, they do even 10,000, 12,000 miles a year. I mean, you can do the math. They're doing, what is it, 2,000? No, 200 gallons a year.
It's late.
Yeah, 200 gallons a year. More than that. 20 miles per gallon is
usually you would probably spend
5 gallons per 1,000. Per 100, 50 gallons per 1,000. So 500 gallons of gas a year. For
$2,500. Say it was $5 a gallon, just round.
Not even $4 a gallon. $2,000 a year in gas.
Yeah.
So are you? And now you're paying electric. You're paying something else. You're paying more on the car. Are you really saving anything? That's why I sort of laugh. Like I get it when you're changing by like 70 cents a gallon, you're talking like $350, $400 a year. And even that isn't really a budget buster.
Right.
Going from premium to regular. It's just, if you're not getting any additional value out of it, that's where my concern is.
Yeah, if you're going premium regular on that basis, it's probably $200 a year on the 2,000. So even if you drove twice that mileage, it's 5,000.
That's 20,000 miles a year, which is a lot of driving.
Right.
But yeah, if you spend $3,000 a year on gas, it's a nice savings. I mean, it's almost $300 a month in your pocket. But if you're paying an extra $500 a month for your car, you're not really winning.
Right, exactly. Now the Volt you have had a real cheap discounted lease, right? What were you paying on?
$273 a month.
Wow, that's and what's the sticker price?
No
on
money
that car?
down. It was $34,000, I think, was a sticker.
Okay.
No money down. All in was $273 a month.
Wow.
And I was happy with that.
And how many miles they give you a year?
12,000.
Oh, that's really good.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna be under my mileage because I've been traveling so much. If I hit 30,000 by the end of my lease, I'll be surprised. Let me go get a water because I'm gonna swallow a cat.
I'll run the miles up for you if you're not using it.
I mean, it's not that exciting. All right. Yeah, it's really not that. It's just, it works, and I've spent $0 to maintain it. And that's another thing that's nice about the electric cars. There's no maintenance costs.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I mean,
well, that's not really
tires
electric. It's a hybrid, right? So there's a generator that recharges the battery. That's how it works, right? Yeah. He said yes. I think you leave this in just for the audio. Not cut it out.
No, I'm going to leave that in. That's what is it, a 12-ounce bottle? That's 8 ounces.
8 ounces.
But I was thirsty, obviously. My throat was very dry.
I always bring water just in case. You never know.
So, yeah. So I think that's enough talk about electric cars.
So let's talk the opposite electric cars. I was in the new Ford GT up in Monticello Motor Club.
Yep.
And that car is a rocket. It's very electronic, so very different than the old Ford GT, obviously. It's, twin turbo V6 now, no stick shift. But that car, I mean, just with the aero, how I did a video on my channel, but just like how it raises and lowers itself. And now I was in the passenger seat, a Ford factory driver drove. I didn't get to drive it. But on a cold October day, I had to take my jacket off literally, and I'm 6 feet, 180 pounds, to fit in the passenger seat because it wasn't adjustable.
Okay.
So first of all, get in first, then put your helmet on. I tried to get in with my helmet on. I couldn't do it. And then I had to take my jacket off to get comfortable. But that thing is like, it's definitely a hypercar now. It's totally different than the old car. But it was crazy being on the track in that car.
I mean, on the track in anything they can.
Yeah.
Like at the Nürburgring, they were bugging me out with a M4.
Right. Especially when you're not driving, you feel it more.
Correct. You feel the G-forces more.
Right. You're not concentrating on the line or whatever, but impressive for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive, and I'm going to put my hat in the ring for another one.
Now, production, they doubled it, right? So wasn't it like 500?
It was 500. They went to 1,000, then they went to 1,350.
So they're going to keep
that.
Doing
that could also be because the previous conversation we were just having about the shift in the auto industry, that's a way to get money. At $450,000 a car, I'm still not convinced that it's a $450,000 car. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's 450. Like it raced and you're not seeing a lot of race comparisons.
Right.
But I saw somebody race it in the 720S and ass kicking. Like no matter what gear it started in, this 720S was out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the fastest car I ever drove, the 720S.
Yeah, it's a fast car.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that if the Ford GT had the performance of the 720S and was walloping on everything, like an Aventador would do in virtually, other than like track times, an Aventador will pretty much smash anything, especially high speed.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with the Ford GT. And I don't even know how it, like the stuff that I saw didn't even probably get above 130 or 140. I don't know if that little, and that's a big problem with smaller engines, is the higher speeds.
Yeah, because it's a drag. So drag, when your speed triples, drag actually squares, so it goes up 9 times.
Yeah.
So going from 30 to 90, you tripled your speed, but drag went up 9 times. That's why like an Evo or STI is pretty quick, 0 to 60. They start losing it over 100. Right. I thought you left, Jimbo. Nope. It's like, who's here at 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah, and it's like dressed like a cat
dressed
burglar.
in black. I was like, what the fuck is that?
So, yeah, I thought you were out of here a while ago. So, I guess the question I would have is what is the right price for the Ford GT? I think it's a 250 car.
Yeah, I would say 250, 300. Well, you know, a 720S.
Why 300 though?
Well, here's the reasoning. The 720S is about 400 grand. The one I drove was 400 grand. And now, like, very slightly used ones are like 330s. And there's no wait. You can go to any McLaren dealer and there's 10 of them.
You can get them, no
right.
problem.
Yeah. So I think the Ford GT to me, because the old one is 250 to 300. And there's 4,038 of them. So everybody thinks they're collectible. I don't know how collectible they are. But to people they are, because they're selling from 250 to 300, right?
For which ones? The
05 and 06. Like a 300 is one with 100 miles on it, right?
Yeah,
and one with
225. I'm going to be in the 225 range.
For the original, not the original Ford GT, but the 05, 06 Ford GT we're talking about. So I would think that the new one, I don't know that I like it better. I think I would take an 05 to 06, honestly. I drove one of those and reviewed it, and I loved it. But I would say the new one, based on those numbers, I think is probably around 3.
Yeah, I would say I think 250, 300. Like just you can't compare it to the old one versus the new one as far as price. You just have to put a price in the car,
right?
Whether it's worth and what it's not worth.
Well, they're holding the values out obviously by keeping the production numbers lower, but then they keep making giving a little more production, a little more production, a little more production. It'd be interesting if they say sold 4,000 of them, like the 05, 06 GT, where they'd settle price wise. Would they be lower than the current one? Be lower than the stick shift one, or who knows?
True.
And actually, segue for the 720, I was at the North American unveiling of the 600 LT, which is the the track version of the 570 McLaren.
Okay.
And I met Ice-T there, and we went in the 600 LT together, so you can see that picture on my Instagram. Same thing, Glen's Car Collection. And he was a cool guy, Ice-T. I know Seth knows him, right?
Yep.
And he has a Memphis Red 720S, which he brought there. And this was literally like right after his Easy Pass debacle.
Yep.
So he was a cool guy. He was showing me pictures of his car being towed. He said that he got in handcuffs and everything like that. And I guess his car, it wasn't just blowing the toll. His car was unregistered. But he was a really cool guy because he actually brought it up. And but he took it in a good way.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
little segue.
Pay your tolls. Pay your tolls.
I'm name dropping, Rob.
Name dropping.
Rob, Freddie, Ice-T, Jimbo in the house.
Jimbo in the house.
Oh, you want to talk about Bitcoin real quick? Jimbo and I, before you got here, we're talking about Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is worth
down to $3,700.
$3,700. I almost made the mistake. I was going to buy $10,000. Well, it wouldn't have been that impactful, but I was going to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin for 10 days. Around Christmas time last year.
That's when it was 20 grand. So
that's when it was, whatever it was.
Between Christmas and New Year's, just before New Year's, we did a podcast, which I think was the last one with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And it was at 20 grand, and we were telling her sell half, and if you at least sell half and let the other ride. And unfortunately, it's down to 3,700 today. Hopefully, it goes.
Well,
back
who knows
up.
what she sold, what she didn't sell.
Yeah, we don't know her situation.
But ultimately, Bitcoin is not as sustainable as was once touted. And you could tell, and I said, like, all the signs of, like, idiots that have no idea and don't invest, telling you how much it's worth or how much it's going to be worth, and that you're, like, missing the boat. There was just no basis behind it. You knew Bitcoin was going to tank hard. There's still people going, what are you kidding me? It's going to go up. Now it's just a time to buy. I don't think so. I don't ever see it really providing enough value or becoming a tradable currency that people want to do or that want to use over cash or another acceptable currency. So we'll leave that at that.
I mean, at 3,700, who knows? It could. I don't think it'll go back to 20,000.
Yeah, but people aren't buying it because they want to use it as a currency. Yeah. People are buying it to speculate.
Right, and a lot of exotic car dealerships I saw, like Lamborghini dealerships and stuff, maybe they changed their mind now. We're actually accepting Bitcoin.
But they also accept it through a broker.
Oh, okay. So you cash it out that day.
So yeah, I'm going to give you. I'm going to buy 100,000.
I don't need to move yours.
No.
He's not in there. I checked already.
Keys in my jacket then. If you're going to buy a $100,000 car, you're going to have to go give like some Bitcoin broker to cash it out $120,000 in Bitcoin to buy your $100,000 car.
So that's how they accept it.
It's worth another 20% less because they got to hedge for the fluctuations in the market.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think Bitcoin was really the play. But let me go. I asked a couple of, just before the podcast, I posted on my my Facebook, which, yes, it still exists briefly, as to if anyone has any questions. The house update, that video is coming up. Plans for new cars in 2019. Right now, I just want to get this house built, and I don't want to keep borrowing money on cars, so I don't know if there's any cars in my future until I get my house done. Why is the American auto industry failing? We got that. Am I sick of the spaghetti jokes yet? It's just noise.
It keeps comments.
I guess.
Comments are good. Your videos get plugged if you got a lot of comments.
When's the new Porsche coming? I don't know. I don't even have that on my radar anymore.
You're talking about the GT3 manual?
Yep.
The GT3 manual, so the base price on that is like $145, right? And I think I played around with the configurator, and maybe I got to
I was 160.
Yeah, I would say 160, 165. I don't remember the exact number. And that's awesome, right? Because even a 997.2 GT2, people want 120, 130 for, right? So you can get the brand new, 500 horsepower, 6-speed manual for 165. Try to find a dealer that'll get you one for 165.
No,
everyone wants 225 and
or even 190s.
Yeah,
it's. I don't know.
No way. I think if you buy for 165, it probably settles for 140, 150. So last thing you want to do.
I'm hoping people are running out of, because now you got dealers calling, hey, you want an allocation? How much? 15 over. I'm like if you're calling me out of the blue, that means there's no more. Right. That game's over.
Right. There's no line.
There's no line because you're cold calling me. I haven't expressed interest in forever. And by the way, you're cold calling me when I had a spot that you then told me was going to go over. Obviously, the market is drying up on those at over list.
And they're selling a lot of them, so it's not like.
Well, that's my point. I'll wait and I'll get in line and hopefully I'll be able to get a car.
Right.
C.J. Wilson, he used to be a baseball player.
Yep.
He's got a couple of dealerships.
Yep. Yeah, he has a bunch of McLaren dealerships too.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing adventure drives 8006 in Europe. And a lot of us are going to probably buy cars and do European delivery.
Oh, sweet.
So if that's the case, I'll try to get a GT3 allocation so I can pick it up and drive it around Europe because I think that would be pretty cool. So let's see. Maserati Quattroporte.
Quattroporte, probably?
No, he really butchered that. I don't know if he did that on purpose.
Maybe spell check.
Or MC12. Are you kidding me?
MC12 like the Enzo? Like that MC12?
Like the MC12? Yeah. It's like... Yeah, I would...
Depends on your budget.
Unless there's an actual Maserati Quattroporte, which is just like a car I don't know. Like, it could be a one-off. How's the body kit search for the Evo looking? I think I'm going to keep it pretty much stock-ish. And Nikolai Ferteski says, I leave up the old podcasts. I'm too behind. So, yeah, the old podcasts are up on the podcast channel. Or are you talking about the old podcast that I had on my YouTube channel? I privated a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. I think I took down like 85 videos.
Why?
Just because they had like less than 50,000 views each. And I'm trying to like not manipulate the algorithm, but work with the algorithm. And if that brought my average view count per video down, and I've got these old videos that really aren't doing very much. So like I'll go look at a video that's a couple years old. It makes $2 a month. I'm like, gone.
Just get rid of it, and that helps feed the
and,
traffic.
and I don't know. I just wanted to like. I've been trying to feel it out with YouTube. I'm like, look, all I ask for, like I built an audience. I want my videos to have a running start. I want the people that want to see it, I want to put it in front of them. And you're not doing that because I was getting videos that no matter what I put out, it would get like 25 to 40,000 views in the first hour, in the first 1 hour. Now I've got videos that have done 17,000 views in a month. And that's only one of them. But like, it's like, why is this video only like, I was getting 24,000 to 40,000 in hour one. So then if the video did well, it would go into the hundreds of thousands. And if it didn't, it would die out around 80,000. So but at least it had a running start. It was getting put in front of eyeballs. And it was getting put in front of all my subscribers and then non-subscribers. And that's when I saw more subscriber growth. Now it's getting a lot less. The subscriber growth has slowed down, and I'm getting a lot fewer views. I get 6,000, 7,000, 10,000 views in the first hour, and that's just like that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's not like the guy at YouTube being like, I don't like this guy. Like, they're not trying to kill my channel. I don't really care. I want to get back in that, in the algorithm's good graces, so to speak. And you see it, like there's channels that have 150,000 subscribers getting 300,000 views a video. Why? Like not every one of their videos is good. Like they're clearly being, it's not, if you only have 150,000 subscribers, you're not getting 50,000 watches from them. You're maybe 20,000. The rest is all YouTube suggesting it, YouTube putting it out in front of people. So I want to get back into that mode where I can build the audience again and put the content in front of other people so I can continue to grow the channel. So
that's what I got to figure out the algorithm. I just did my 500th video.
500?
500 videos in 2 years. So Glen's car collection, 500 car videos.
Wow, I've only got like 800 in like 10 years.
I know. I do 3 videos a week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And you're consistent. You're like...
Yeah, I'm consistent. I get up at 5 in the morning to edit.
Wow. I want to talk, since I got the talking stick, about Glen's 993 Turbo that I drove. And that 993 Turbo can now be yours because Glen has it up for sale. He's restructuring the garage. And if you've always wanted the 993 Turbo, which is, I sort of want to go back and say that's one that you said you would never sell. Is it?
Yep.
So, well, you know what? He's selling it. And it's up on eBay right now. I don't know if Jim, you could put the link to the auction, but...
so if not, if you want to find it, just type in 993 Turbo. It's silver. It's a 96. It's in New Jersey. So it'll come up. So I put it on eBay, I guess, last week. So just to backtrack, if you've listened, follow Glen's Car Collection on YouTube or you're listening to the podcast, I had 8 cars. I sold, not counting the 993 Turbo because that's not sold yet, I sold 4 cars this year and bought 1. So I sold my 13,000 mile all original S2000.
Okay.
I sold my GLA 45 AMG, which is my daily driver. So I sold those 2 cars and bought an Audi S8, which was less than those 2. So I pocketed some money, bought a new daily driver, 2000 Audi S8, 520 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 1,400 watts there. That's my real estate car because that's what I do for a living, commercial real estate. Then I sold the M2. I sold my Z3M Coupe with the S54 engine. And now the last car to sell, which would be car number 5, would be the 993 Turbo. So I put it on eBay. Because eBay, even if a car doesn't sell through eBay, I forgot what other car I put on eBay. Oh, the M2. I put the M2 on eBay, and it went to a large audience, and it sold very quickly on eBay, like within an hour. 93 Turbo, obviously higher price points is going to take more. And I think I sold my first S2000 on eBay, and I think an SRT8 Cherokee. And I've never had a bad experience on eBay. I've been a member of eBay since I was young, since 1998.
You haven't sold a lot of cars on eBay, because usually you sell them and it's not really a sale.
Yeah, so exactly, that's what happened. So I got, you get a million lowball offers from every wholesale. I can trade it in for more than that, so why would I do that? And, an enthusiast made me a good offer. So I accepted it because I didn't want to deal. The two bad experiences I had on eBay were with dealers. So I try to do it individuals and try to find somebody like me. And if it's market value, I'm not going to, could I have gotten $5,000 more? Probably. Sure. But I'm happy it goes
value to a quick
and I'm happy it goes to good home and the whole bit and somebody who appreciates it. So, and I'm getting a lot of offers from foreign countries, which I don't 100% trust, like Kuwait and Europe. Yeah, and they're like, I'll come with cash today.
I will give you double what you're asking.
No, they're actually not. They're actually probably 5,000 or 10,000 low.
Okay.
And so who knows? Maybe it's legitimate, maybe it's not. But I'd rather go to enthusiasts. So they can't enforce. So say it's a legal binding contract. That's what eBay says, right? Because you have offer and acceptance. If you counter, and somebody who really knows, I was pre-law, but I never went to law school. But somebody who really knows can answer the question or leave a comment below. So offer and acceptance would be a binding contract, but it could be, it can be in real estate, it can be in cars, it could be selling that camera or that monitor. It's going to cost you money to go after the person, and we're not going to do that if you can just
never
going
to do it on eBay.
Yeah, it'll never, and exactly.
eBay, you can't even give them negative feedback for being a non-payment paying bidder on a car because there's no pre-qualifying of the person. That's one of the reasons like Bring a Trailer even came about.
Right.
Is because people were frustrated that you go through everything. You'd have 100 people bid on the car.
Yep.
The high bidder turns it down. Then you go to the next guy. Right. The next guy doesn't want it anymore. And it's like, wait, we were like $500 less. Now you don't want it.
Right. And that even happens on Bring a Trailer too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got what was I consider a pretty good offer. You have 48 hours to accept it. I was getting other offers. I took this one. I didn't want to counter and say, hey, 5,000 more or 10,000 more, and then we meet in the middle. You know what? Good enough. It gets me where I need to be. I hit accept, and then you go to a second screen, anybody that sold a car, and it says, don't say accept a second time unless you promise you're going to sell. It's a legally binding contract. So I did that. I'm like, great, exactly what I wanted. It's over and done with.
Yeah.
And then the guy emails me, and I don't think he screwed me on purpose or anything like that. And he's like, oh, I just bought so I'm not going to mention his name or his eBay thing.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I had two offers out, a 996 Turbo, which was like 1/4 the price, and my car. And he goes, oh, I didn't know you would accept my offer, so I accepted the 996 Turbo. It's like, you're not even pricing in the same way.
Yeah, 996 Turbo is like 35 grand.
Yeah, exactly. It was 38 grand he bought. So he could, buy 3 of them for the price of a 993 Turbo or whatever. So he's like, I can't go through with it. And I'm like, well, I chose yours other offers, which I've lost now. And, you should go through with it. And he's like, well, then I have to renege on this other offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're reneging on mine, me, right? And I Googled him. When you do win an offer, it tells the person's name and address, or at least what's registered on the eBay account. And it looked like he lived in $1 million house in another state, so he had enough money to do it.
Doesn't mean anything. He
doesn't mean anything.
$1 million mortgage.
Yeah, and then I said, well, if you don't go through with it, at the very least, I probably should leave you negative feedback because you're going to do that to the next person.
Do it.
And he goes, well, if you do that to me, I'm going to do that to you. So I'm like, well, what did I do? So I ended. So eBay charged me the $122 anyway.
Yeah. And
I'll have to figure that out with them.
Yeah, you have to go back to eBay and say this guy didn't buy it, and then you get your money back.
So I don't think he didn't screw me or anything or sour grapes. He probably figured, this guy's not going to accept it anyway.
Yeah, but don't make the offer.
Like, yeah, exactly.
If you put the money on the table, you can't be like, oh, nope, I put you can't split the bet and then say like, I'm going to take whichever one I think plays out better.
Yeah, or at least cancel the offer. You could do that. So if he made an offer on my car and he was driving home and
make another offer.
Yeah, or his wife said, hey, that's too much money. This
Whatever
is 911 Turbo. Yeah, then just cancel the offer. I would have accepted another one.
For sale.
Yes, it's back up for sale. If we're filming this, Wednesday night. So if you see this podcast tomorrow, it'll be until Friday night, 8 o'clock. And I think eBay does Pacific time, right? So I think that's when the auction is. So go on there. Don't bid unless you're going to honor your bid.
Yeah.
But if you want a highly maintained car, it's up there.
So what does that leave you?
Leaves me the NSX, which is a keeper.
Yep.
And my BMW 1M. I said that about the Porsche. And BMW 1 Series M.
So you have those two in the S8.
Those two in the S8, yeah.
So down to 3 cars. So Glen's car collection is just Glen's 3-car garage.
And the Jeep Cherokee, so I'll be down to 4 cars. But I had 8.
Yeah.
I'll buy something else. I got a lot of real estate things, so if you need me for real estate, GlenRealEstateExpert@gmail.com in New Jersey.
Have you banked? What's that?
I've closed a couple deals. That thing when we were talking about at Venture Drives in Tennessee. Yeah. If I had signed up for that, I would have had it got back because I got that big meeting on that Thursday or whatever. But the problem with real estate, and it's a commission job, and it's a great field. I've been doing it since '98. You got to plant seeds with people. Like, hey, this guy could sell it. I'm making this up. You could sell this building and get $50 million for it. But the guy doesn't say, he's getting $1 million in income off that building, and I'm making up numbers. He doesn't say, I want to sell tomorrow, right? So it's all meeting with him, showing him the numbers, finding a buyer for it, and then say, hey, I can give you $50 million right now, and now we can take that and buy 10. We can buy 5 $10 million buildings.
Yeah, and then
so you're diversified.
You like $2.5 million.
Right, exactly. So it's a thing like that. So like I'd love to get an exotic car or something, and as long as I bank some money, and I've sold, I think, a couple $100,000 in cars.
Yeah.
So there's, maybe I'll buy something, but I got to keep a reserve just because I'm going to get these commissions in 2020.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, it's just all about cash flow.
In 2020, I'll be rich.
Yeah. Well, you're doing all right now. Like the guy who's like, I'm only down to my NSX and my 1M and my Jeep and
don't feel bad for me.
SA. Yeah, don't feel bad.
Well, I've always bought like $50,000 cars that either held their value at 50, or that maybe went to 100 or something like that, and then sold them and got something else. So like I've never. I think the most expensive car I ever bought was probably like $70,000. Maybe I sold it for 100.
Yeah.
But
what was your NSX? How much has it appreciated since you've owned it?
Well, what do you think? I mean,
I don't want to get into what it's worth.
Yeah.
But would you estimate it's worth $10,000, $20,000, $30,000?
What I paid for it, I would say it's worth. I got it at a good price. I got it just as the NSXs were going up. So I could tell you my old one, my first one I bought for 25 and sold for 47.
Okay.
So it was like 68% or whatever, 58%. Yeah. And I would say my other one is, in a perfect world, it would be worth double, but just like putting it on eBay, you're not going to get 100% unless you're a specialty dealer. So I would say it probably went up 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, in a perfect world, if a dealer was selling it and could take trade-ins and finance it for 144 months, they would probably sell for 60 more than what I paid for it.
Sure.
But I would say realistically, if I'm doing it, I'd get 40 more.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, don't feel bad for him.
Don't feel bad.
But also buy his Porsche.
Buy my Porsche if you want. It's a great car. I mean, I think, that's as good as a 997 GT3 in a way. I think, and who knows, they may both go up in value or something. They can never make another air-cooled Porsche, and that was the only. Car and Driver just did an article, just coincidence. It was like the fastest car they tested in the 90s. It was 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. And that was ahead of its time. So like the F40 and F50 were that fast, but those were hand-built supercars, essentially. This you could buy. And, people say, well, why is the value 6 figures? My car was $108,000 brand new, right? So it's just like a 997 GT3 or you name the car. An F40, F50 is worth 10 times what it was.
But it was,
price,
F40
right?
was what, $350 now?
Yeah, and what is it now? Couple million?
$1.5 million.
Yeah. So when they went from 300 to 600, people cried, "Oh my God, how can it be 600,000?" And those are the same people who can't buy it at 1.5, right? So it's it should be a figure car all day long, just because they made so few of them. And it was the only 400 horsepower. The original 930s that sell for 200,000 or 300,000. Had 270 horsepower, 280 horsepower. There's 6 seconds to 60.
Yeah.
This car's 3.7 with 400 horsepower. It should. Older car always goes up first. Yep. Even like a 1970 911 that's worth a fortune.
Well, I mean, the air-cooled cars have been hot for, a long time, and it's pretty standard hot market. Matt Farah, you saw he built one?
Yeah.
He built his Safari, his Lee Keen car, but it looks like he just blew his motor already.
Oh, did he really? I saw something on Instagram. I didn't actually look at
it looks like his engine's out again.
Yeah.
And I mean, that car was just built for like a several month or almost a year-long build.
Yeah.
And the entire engine was rebuilt. So the fact that the engine failed was obviously probably a craftsmanship thing. It's not like Matt missed a gear or something.
Right.
So hopefully that's warranted for him.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, you hope, but you never know with these things. They like, if Titan's going to walk away from a guy whose car they crashed, you don't know what another shop is going to do when it comes down to crazy. We made $4,200 on the build of the engine. Now it's going to cost us $8,000 to fix it.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. I'm making these numbers up.
Yeah.
But like, you don't know what people are going to do if they can't afford or don't want to afford. They're like, we're not going to lose $4,000 on this job.
Right.
a net loss of $4,000 plus all the additional labor.
Yeah.
You've gotta be wary of that. So.
Right. Well, I think for Matt's car too. He's a celebrity in the car world. I'm sure they're going to do right by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
You don't know. Who knows? Like I never put it past anyone anymore. Like especially in the car world, you deal with the weirdest people.
Yeah.
But speaking of weird people, I need some weird people. I need some employees / like partners going forward, because I've got a pretty aggressive plan. The people on the Patreon can see it, but the 2019 plan is going to involve like probably 3 additional people to assist. Sales, marketing, ad sales, branding, merchandising. If all of this stuff sounds fun to you, reach out. And that goes across all of my brands, Adventure Drives, Gotham, and Super Speeders. Now, I don't know if I'm really going to get too into this stuff until I have the other warehouse up and running, which will probably be
what's the time frame for that?
I mean, probably Q1 of. We're waiting on our plans to be approved by the town so we can start the build out. So we're expecting that by January 1. But once that's done, I'll be able to build someplace for people to work out of, and then we can start expanding. But I want to start doing more events. I mean, I've got a very, very aggressive thing. And also the filming and editing too. I'm going to switch away from Jim for the most part and lean more on like interns. Like the daily Super Speeders videos don't require as specialized editing or labor. And I want to use Jim for some of the bigger projects that I want to do. And this way you can focus more on the editing, and I don't need to like rush uploads and do product plugs and stuff like that. I rather hire a couple extra people. I want to build out my the superspeeders.com website, and versus paying people, because I'm going to be building a house and dumping lots of cash into my businesses. I want to figure out like creative strategies to get good people, because the thing I always run into is when I like it's just when I try to hire a bunch of people at once, I usually get subpar people. I want to bring on people that they will get a piece of what they make, so I'll give them equity in the specific lines of business and the merchandising.
That's a good idea.
So they'll probably get more than what they would get if I just paid them an hourly, but at least I'm guaranteed some form of return.
Right.
Versus like the guy who gives a half-assed effort because like, well, he just pays me $1,000 a week to edit. So now whatever the easiest edit I can
you
get
just
to
get
it off
over
the plate.
Yeah,
I mean that's always human nature, and that's what I've been looking at for a while. So shoot me an email, rob@superspeeders.com. If you're local to like the Englewood, New Jersey area, and you're skilled, I don't even mind if you're also like an influencer or a media guy or something that's trying to make a name for yourself, because that's sort of where Jimbo was at, and I think he got a pretty solid boost. I've connected him with a bunch of good people, and he's made a bunch of money playing this game. So if you want to be part of that train, you can jump on that train. I've got no illusions that somebody's going to be here forever, but if you want to build something and be part of a greater vision, that I mean, I've got a good stepping stone here, and I'm not capitalizing it because I've got so many businesses that I'm focusing on. I don't want these opportunities to pass by. I want to actually capitalize and monetize it further. And if I'm taking the same money and then dividing it up among more people with no guarantees,
right,
versus taking the same money but then adding that additional money, I don't need all of the additional money. I can take half of that and still be happy. So again, if any of that sounded fun, email rob@superspeeders.com and we can possibly make something work.
Sweet.
What else you got? I saw you had a little list.
Oh, did I think we covered most of it?
Did we really?
Yeah, because I had the Ford GT. Well, I was going to say Gotham. So can people rent cars from Gotham now? You have the video with the cars in your fleet.
Yep.
So somebody just goes to what? Your website?
You can go. Well, the problem is the Gotham website isn't updated with the cars, but all the cars that you saw in the video, are available for rent, plus a Alfa Romeo 4C.
Oh, you got one of those?
I do. I have one. So if you want to rent any of those cars, by all means, you can reach out to info@gothamdreamcars.com or just email rob@gothamdreamcars.com, and I'll be able to arrange something. This is the time of year where you're going to get the best deals. So, and I can't go too low on the pricing because there's obviously a floor to the operating cost of the vehicles, but I can give you extra time in the cars. So that's usually what I do during the winter is I give you double time for the same price. So if you rent the car for a day, you get it for 2 days. You rent it for a week, you get it for 2 weeks. If you rent it for a month, you get it for 2 months. Excuse me. And that helps offset the carrying cost of the cars in the winter. And I'm up in the air as to whether I want to ship them down to Florida or not. But they're doing pretty good, so I may keep them up here. But it does get a little slower, and utilization fleet-wide goes down, so that does give me some room to play. So if you're interested in renting a car, by all means, rob@gothamdreamcars.com. I will be happy to hook yous up.
Sweet.
What else you got?
Well, okay, the only other thing I had.
That's all you got?
The other day we've been talking an hour, right? The other package, I got a package from Amazon the other day. Everybody gets a million packages. But this time it was delivered from a guy in a G-Wagon. And I heard something, so maybe somebody can confirm this, that Amazon bought some G-Wagons to deliver packages.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody told me that. But, I think I was washing the Porsche to put it on eBay, and the Amazon driver comes in his G-Wagon and gives me a package. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, he's got an expensive, probably more expensive car than I do if it's a G63 or something like that. So I just thought that was odd.
I mean, at a certain point in time, I know Amazon spreading their logistics. That could be a guy, an entrepreneur. He could have 50 vans.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe a guy who owns a bunch of routes, because I think they sell their routes, right?
Maybe he's just trying to make that car payment.
Somebody called in sick, and he had to do some packages himself. But it was like a young guy, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got. That's all I got. We covered Titan briefly. I did a video on that. The house update's coming up. I don't know. I got a bunch of cool videos coming up. The auto industry is a funny place. We're going to do another project car challenge. I'm doing more events in 2019, or doing events. I haven't done any of the events yet. But the project car challenge is going to be pretty cool. I just put that up on my Instagram as far as who you guys want to see. And now that I have a rough list, I can start reaching out to people and lining up schedules. And then once I line the schedules up, I'll see what tracks are available, and then we'll make something happen.
Are you going to do that down in Florida?
I don't know. Okay. Probably April, May, maybe late March. So April, definitely April into May opens up like virtually anything, even in the Northeast. VIR would be cool. The thing is that I like to have multiple tracks, and to have multiple tracks, you sort of have to be like in Florida or something like that, because otherwise there's not too many tracks close to one another. Up here, there's like Monticello Motor Club,
right? Nice track.
But then it doesn't have enough straightaway to do the straight line testing. I like doing that half mile. I like doing the time attack. And I like doing the multiple.
Right, so your car's got to be able to do everything, not just fast.
I mean, it could do whatever.
Yeah.
But at least everybody's got some form of bragging rights. It's like, I murdered everybody in the half mile, but then I got destroyed in the endurance portion. Or like for me, it was my glory was going to be at Daytona, where I was going to probably set the fastest lap around Daytona.
Right.
But it was raining, so that defeated the purpose. And
with the Corvette, right?
With the Corvette, yeah. So everybody was pussyfooting around in the rain. And when I tried to go hard, I looped the car and turned 3 on my second lap. And after that, I only got 1 decent lap. Now, it was still the gap was way too much. I was 20 seconds faster than that guy or something like that. But it just wasn't... I got beat by Kyle Massoon in a BRZ by 15 seconds or something like that. There's no reason there should have been that gap. But the Pilot Sport Cup tires aren't the best rain tire.
No.
So ultimately, that being in Daytona in the rain, and it wasn't just rain, it was ponding.
A monsoon.
So, and we only had the track for 3 hours, so it was rain or shine. So we were sending that shit. That's the downside to that. And like that's where I would have been like, look, I didn't expect to do the full 20-minute hot lapping session during Sebring.
Yeah.
But I beat I've got the fastest car here. It's not the most enduring car, but it's the fastest car here. Right. Hopefully now, when I get it back from LG, it will be both the fastest car and the most enduring car, and I'll put up a solid fight at my own events.
Sweet.
So I'm not going for the straight line speed to win the fastest.
You're going to be the overall winner.
But I'd like to be the overall winner. and I'm not designing the events for the overall winner. If you logically think through the event, that's finding the most capable car.
Yeah.
And the only metrics I have right now is that I was the fastest car of the ones we had in Vegas. And I was actually also the fastest car in Sebring, but again, not for the full. I only got 2 or 3 laps, and I was still the fastest car, other than Lou Gelati. And for me, my car to be a little over a second behind a 2017 modified Z06 with a pro driver. I mean, that was pretty. I was pretty proud of that for a 20-year-old car that got piecemealed together. So I think once Lou is done cleaning it up, I think we'll be in good shape.
Awesome. Well, my plans, I got to get to 10,000 subscribers, so get me there, audience, then I'll get a project car.
I didn't even put those rules together yet, but yeah.
No, that's the rule I made for myself.
I think 10,000 subscribers is a good floor.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a project car until you have 10,000.
And I think maybe instead of the $2,500, I'll make it like $500 entry fees. To offset the cost of the event, and if I can get some sponsors, then all that money will go into a prize pool, and then it'll be like first place, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. Maybe a $10,000 check for the first place, $5,000 second place, $2,500 third place, if we can get enough money behind it.
Yeah.
But I want to get the tuners out there. Hennessy says he's down, but he was down last time. But that's why I want to get all these schedules lined up beforehand, so we do get the attendance. And like right now I'm getting attacked from so many different angles, like I want to come, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I don't want to run into something where I overcommit and now we have like 25 tuners, but half of them you've never heard of.
Yeah.
So I'll give the bigger names the priority, and then work my way down the list until the grid is full.
Cool.
So
sweet.
Gonna be fun.
Yep.
So there you guys have it. Thank you for watching. I think we covered a bunch today, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty informative. The Glen's Car Collection, if you want to check out YouTube, he's got to get to 10,000 subscribers.
Subscribe.
He's got 500 videos.
car videos. You name the car, I've driven it.
He's got 500 videos on there. So go check them out. Enjoy those. And my stuff, you know how to find me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook I don't really use anymore. I don't really use Twitter either. But my Instagram is Rob Ferretti, and you know my YouTube channel. And we will see you next time. Podcast 68.
In the books.
In the books. Next time, 69. We'll 69 together next time I see you.